Hi, welcome to the Mohua Show. My name is Mohua Chinappa and I am an author, entrepreneur, and ex-housewife. This podcast is about everything from business to technology to arts to lifestyle, but done and spoken imandari se. Hi, in today's episode, we have Apoorva Agarwal. Apoorva is a lawyer and entrepreneur and is serving as the director of Gyan School, Bareilly. She runs an Instagram page called Let's Be Eloquent, where she teaches English and professional conduct for her followers. She pursued her law degree from the prestigious Symbiosis International University, where she further honed her childhood passion for debating and public speaking by participating in national level moot court competitions and parliamentary debates. She's a firm believer in the fact that experience is the best teacher, and hence she has always embarked on ventures which have presented her with any opportunity to learn and grow. Welcome, Apoorva, in today's podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. And I'm eagerly looking forward to this conversation. And thank you so much for introducing me so well. I hope people follow my page and I'm able to educate and influence as many people as possible who struggle a lot, especially on professional front.
So let's just, come down to one question. Like there's a recent report, by the National Family Health Survey revealed that 32% of married women aged between 15 to 49 years are employed, whereas this percentage is much more for married men in the country, which is 98% for the same age group. So बहुत सारी औरतें हैं जो they opt out of work जब शादी हो जाती है in order to take care of family responsibilities. आपने कैसे मैनेज किया ये, after being married and having kids? ये हमारे सुनने वालों के लिए, स्पेशली आपके फॉलोअर्स जो हैं, बहुत सारे छोटे शहरों में आप वही नॉर्म फॉलो करते हो जहाँ पे काम छोड़ देते हो, शादी के बाद, आप उनके लिए क्या कहना चाहोगे?
Absolutely, I agree. So when I got married, I was always smart. So when I started dating my boyfriend, I kind of inquired. So he told me that we will have to shift to Bareilly after the wedding, and I was working in Noida, and it was a big shift for me. So my focus has always been on the fact that I cannot leave work. So I told him, I said, what all options will I have when I shift to a small town? And he said that we are into education business. You can take care of the schools and everything. I said, fine. So when I met his family, that time also my point of concern was this only. So I spoke to the family, and my mother said that, she has to work. So the family was like, of course she'll work, and that's not a problem. But my mother was adamant, like, no, you have to, before we finalize the wedding date or anything else, you have to tell me what will she work, like where will she go, will she handle the school, or how are you going to do about it? So they said, no, we will make sure that she take care of the school. But, I think the main reason why a lot of women are not able to continue working after they get married is, number one, because they don't get support from the family. Or number two, they get so comfortable in that environment and um, in that environment of being a housemaker that they don't want to experiment more, and then they feel that there are a lot more responsibilities that they have. So I think they struggle to find that balance. So when I got married into a family of 13 people. So we were 13 people staying in the same house where none of the lady was working and I was the only one who was. um, Everybody thought that I will not be able to work. But I made it a point that I start going to the school, I start taking care of the school. And then when I got pregnant, again, a lot of people thought that I'll quit working. But I must tell this to all those who are listening that a day before my delivery, I was lying in the hospital and I was actually making my calendar as to what all I have to do in the next 40 days of my postpartum journey when I'll have time in my hand. So it requires a lot of dedication, and you need to fight for it. You need to make it clear to the people that you cannot live without working. And if you get very comfortable in your own environment, and if you don't feel like you're like nahi theek hai jaise hai waise hai, family suffer karegi, then it's on you. So you have to create that balance and work for your own self, because if you're working, you'll be able to dedicate good time, you'll be in a very good mood, and you'll be able to do much better when it comes to doing something for the family. So, and at the same time, there's one thing that I would also like to mention, that I see a lot of women who are working, but they're so committed towards working that they forget their family life. They leave in the morning, come back in evening. The child is being taken care of by the help or the family members. So I think it's truly important that we find that balance. So that's what my aim has always been, to work, but also to give time to my family so that they're also happy to see me work, and they don't say that because of kaam karti rehti hai, she has no time for us. So yes, so I'm passionate about my work, but I'm also very, very much in love with the family that I have. So they support me because I also give time to them. So you have to, it's just about creating that perfect balance.
So I'll have to come back now, Apoorva, on the whole topic that we began जब हमारी शुरुआत में बात हुई थी छोटे शहरों के बारे, because
Yes.
छोटे शहरों में रहना एक कहीं ना कहीं बहुत सारा कंफर्ट फैक्टर भी होता है, बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी जायंट ह्यूज फैमिली. सब एक और एक को पहचानते हैं. आप किराने की दुकान में जाओ तो आपके नाम जानेंगे, आपके
Absolutely.
पापा के नाम जानेंगे, आपके बच्चे कौन से क्लास में पढ़ते हैं वो भी जानेंगे. पर बड़े शहरों में ऐसा नहीं होता है. तो आप जब ऑप्ट की नोएडा से लेके बरेली जाने के लिए, आपने ये सारी चीज़ों को सोच के आप आगे गई, या आपको शुरुआत में देयर वर प्रॉब्लम्स व्हेन यू वेंट इनटू अ स्मॉलर टाउन, बिकॉज स्मॉलर टाउन आल्सो एज मच एज इट्स अ जायंट फैमिली, प्रिवेसी कम होती है. और बड़े शहरों में हम जब रहते हैं हमें प्रिवेसी की आदत हो जाती है, हमें पता भी नहीं होता नेबर के घर पे क्या हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, और उसी तरीके से जीते हैं हम. तो हाउ डिड यू ओवरकम दैट होल chasm between the two?
So I'll tell you, when I was working, I used to stay absolutely alone. Like, I was staying in a 2 BHK flat all alone. So I used to go to work, come back. So when you talk about privacy, it's true. I was staying alone. I had no interference. I did what I wanted to do. And but I always knew that I have to get married to this guy and I have to shift to a very, very small town and in a family of 13 people. So when I came here, although I was prepared and that helped me a lot, but I did face a lot of problems. Number one, I'm a workaholic. So staying alone, and then I come from a nuclear family setup. Actually, it's just my mother and me. So I was not prepared at first to deal such a large family, and then a small town, you meet the same people again and again. So it kind of became very monotonous, and I constantly used to think every day what my life would have been had I not gotten married in Bareilly. But then I had, I was thinking a lot about it, and then I sat with my husband, and he told me that in Delhi you would have been a bheed mein khoya aadmi. Whatever you are working, लोगों को पता ही नहीं चलता. Even if you had a lakh followers, it wouldn't have mattered at all being in Delhi, because there's so many influencers already there. In case if you've got a million followers, maybe then you would be recognized. But here, trust me, and wherever I go, whomsoever I meet, everybody knows me. Everybody appreciates my work. If I ever make an initiative, if I ever organize a class for kids or any workshop, or if ever I meet someone, they speak so high of me. And that is the feeling which I think matters the most, that you're surrounded by people who appreciate so much. So I think it's a mental block that people have, that you can't really progress in a small town. I understand the possibilities are less, but uh, you there is so much appreciation around you. People value your work so much that automatically your growth is inevitable. And when it comes to exploring more opportunities, you can always travel, work around. It's going to be a task, and it's going to involve a little more effort from your end. But being in a small town actually worked wonders for me. Uh, I have my school. So through my school, I started Let's Be Eloquent. I have my whole working space. And that would have not been possible had I been in any of the metro cities or, in Delhi. Because log jante hi nahi. Until and unless I would make it really big, people would have not known me. So I'm very happy to be here. It's obviously tasking, like it's a difficult process. Aaj tak I meet a lot of people, and till today also I have thoughts, yeah, Delhi hote to kya hota. But then it just comes down to a fact that Delhi होते तो भीड़ में ही खो जाते, या कहीं बड़े शहर में होते तो बिल्कुल भीड़ में खो जाते. And now I've made my own identity. And when I go back to Delhi and meet my family and friends, they value me so much. They value my work so much. So yes, I think these are all small mental blocks that people have. I see a lot of girls, they're like, बरेली तो बिल्कुल शादी नहीं करेंगे, दिल्ली से बाहर शादी नहीं करेंगे. But I would just want to put it out there that it's actually great working in a small town. You'll get a lot of appreciation, love, and support from family and friends. And yes, people value your work a lot.
So coming back to the work that you do, आपने मुझे कहा था that you're a lawyer by profession, and then you are more known, to the world with Let's Be Eloquent, which is your Instagram page, right? Now, how do you explain? Did you have issues in explaining to yourself about this work? Because soft skills is a very, very important part for this is actually life skill, right? When you go into an interview, what is it that you should say? How is it that you conduct yourself among people? And but did you have difficulty in explaining to your friends and family about running this space and what you would achieve with this?
So I had difficulty explaining my family what the concept of content creation, because everybody, I think a lot of people till now think that I just make reels, I upload reels. They don't understand how I kind of how collaborations work, how I make money out of it. For them, it is like whenever I tell my family or friends, please idhar mat aana because I'm making a video. They're like, oh, it's fun. It's a fun job. She's just making a reel, uploading it, or bade views aa jate hain. But they don't understand that it involves a lot of hard work and how this market is actually growing. um, so when I started doing this, so I'll tell you what, my mother has always been very like those prim and proper lady, like she would correct me how am I eating, how I'm walking. So when I went to Delhi and I started working, being from a small town, I did not have that exposure, so I used to be very intimidated by the people around me. They were very, very good. But I had a senior, his name is Anant Dang, who used to sit beside me. He was so intelligent, and his English was so good, that at first I felt very intimidated. I was like, and that was the feeling I thought that people should not have. They should be confident. So he taught me a lot. He said that, I'm going to teach you if ever you go wrong in drafting messages, in talking to people, I'm going to help you. So that's how I groomed myself. And then a lot of people who contributed towards my grooming. And when I started Let's Be Eloquent, I started with the name that what I felt when I started working, I don't want others to feel, especially people who are coming from a small town. And I think I'm able to help a lot of people through my page. But coming back to explaining my work, yes, it's still very difficult. People don't understand what I'm doing. I'm always termed as a boring influencer. People think I just switch on the camera, teach, and bas baat khatam. Views aa jate and I get, people have started knowing me, but they don't realize that it's a never end. We are always working. We are even working on weekends, when we are even every time working when we are traveling. So it's still a difficult job, especially to explain it to people who are in their mid 30s, because they don't really understand the Instagram, how Instagram work. So for them, it's always entertainment, but they don't understand that you can actually run your business through it. So yes, it's a task. It's a task. I did take a lot of time. People think that it's been 4 years since I started Let's Be Eloquent, but people still come to me and say, "Wow, तुमने इतनी कम time में इतना कुछ achieve कर लिया." People also come to me and say, "From where did you buy followers?" So I think it's a market and it's a platform which people don't understand easily.
कभी कभी तो अपूर्वा बुरा लगता होगा ना that you're not taken seriously for all the mehnat that we actually put in this sort of
Absolutely.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, so I once told someone, I was talking to my friend, and she told me that Apura, someone was asking me your commercials for a reel, and I told her, okay, this is what, and she's like, wow, घर बैठे बैठे भी इतने आराम से you earn. बस एक वीडियो बनाने के इतने पैसे मिलते हैं. And I was like, what? I said there's a lot of process that goes behind it. Um, I have to draft scripts, I have to draft concepts, get them approved, shoot, reshoot, and then I'm going to represent a brand, make that brand reach so many people. It's a huge task. It's not easy. And everybody thinks that because I speak well, I would do it in one take. But I also take a lot of shots and a lot of takes to deliver the content that I make. I always and always do my research because I also have set standards for myself. So it's a job which I think people still don't understand. When people look at all these influencers, they're like, wow, ये लोग इतना घूमते हैं, इतना वो करते हैं. I was also one of them. But now being in this business, I understand that it takes a lot of effort, a lot of effort.
So, Apurva, I just need you to say a few tips, for people, especially because, what got me very interested about your page was this, that I kept thinking that, that there are so many people you meet, who come in from smaller towns and they're completely consumed in a large city. And I'm repeating that back again because, so many people shift in. And like you said that, when you went into Delhi, you were intimidated. And I know a lot of people who would be intimidated in a city that's large, where people are more savvy, people are more well dressed, people are speaking better, the exposure is better, and what are those few tips that you'd like to leave, for people who are listening to you and me right now, and having gone through the entire experience of your own journey, life journey, what is it that they need to remember, when they move from a smaller town into a larger city to work, and they don't have friends, they don't have family, and they have to learn to negotiate life, make new friends around them, um, understand the entire culture. What are the things that you would like to tell them?
So I think the first thing I would like to tell them is that you must invest in yourself. By that I mean, I see a lot of people coming from small towns spending money on useless things, but they don't really spend money on themselves. You must spend on your own grooming, professional grooming especially. It's a task for me to convince people to join my class because they think ये तो सब हमें YouTube में free में मिल जाएगा. But at the same time, they would just go around and shop useless stuff. So that is very important. Invest in yourself, upskill yourself, groom yourself. If you do that, no matter where you are, no matter from which place you come, it does not matter because you will have the knowledge that is needed to survive in this competitive world. So please start investing in your own self, in your professional grooming, on your basic grooming, on your personality development. And that can be easily done. It's a skill that you can learn. It's not something that you're born with. It's a skill that you can very easily acquire. So start investing in yourself. And number two is you have to uh, be very consistent with the work that you do. So if you're from a small town and you're shifting to a large town, there are times that we get so disheartened and again intimidated, seeing people around us growing and doing so much better because of the exposure they have had. But if you're consistent, if you're ready to put in the hard work, and if you're very much passionate about your own work, you'll find a way and you will survive in that environment. I've been there. I have been a person who has I can't even explain, like if someone would even talk to me, speak to me loudly, I would just get scared and start crying. But then I have worked with people who have literally taught me and I accept it. So accept your flaws. Go and tell them, I am not good at communication skills, but I want to learn it. I am not good at drafting this, but I want to learn. So if you have that consistency and if you have that passion towards your work, you will be able to survive no matter what. You will do it. And lastly, and this one is especially for all the women, uh, make sure that you plan your future because we genuinely have to plan our future more than men, trust me, because there's so many changes that will be in our life that definitely a man does not have to face. We'll get married, we'll become a wife, we'll have to handle a house, we will then become a mother. So we are not ready for such changes, but you have to plan every stage of your life and do a work which is able to which you're able to I mean invest in doing a work which you can at every stage of your life. Even when you're a mother, don't do a job you're like, once you become a mother, you're like, I can't do it, so you're sitting at home. So always and always plan your future. It works great. Don't live in the moment. Plan your future and multitask because that's what it is these days. We've always been told when we were kids that एक aim होना चाहिए, उसी एक aim पे काम करो. But I feel no, have 10 aims and focus, try, learn how to multitask, and that is when you'll be able to work wonders in your professional life, even if you're from a small town. So, yes, um, invest in yourself, upskill yourself, be consistent and passionate about your work, and plan your future very, very well. And you'll be able to uh, do it all, even if you come from a very, very small town.
Just for our listeners, that growing up in a small town, you're really living in a large family of neighbors, shopkeepers who know you. You probably have little less privacy. But many small town people, when they migrate into bigger cities, they do feel vulnerable because of the inability to mingle easily with people. So, with Apoorva's page, Let's Be Eloquent, I think it's an amazing tool where it's free of cost for you to go onto her page, learn etiquette, and it'll always help you navigate your life easier because there are so many kids who are coming down from smaller towns into larger cities. And I do see that they do feel lost sometimes. So thank you, Apoorva, for being on today's podcast. And last but not the least, I think what you said about women is that try and remain economically independent because that's something that really takes us forward in life. And having been a mother myself, having moved cities, being a Delhi girl, having moved into smaller cities, it has not been very easy for me, but I am extremely grateful, just like you, for having not given up and rediscovering myself time and again. And there is no number, there is no age. You can just do it from wherever, whatever space of life you're in.
My mother told me when I got married that you should be so capable in life that if ever you are left alone, if ever something bad happens to you, say you're divorced or everybody leaves you, you should get a job not next day, but that very evening. So you have to make yourself that capable. So I think that is what I've always had in mind. That if ever I have to be so independent that if ever I need a job or if I ever need help, I'll get it, that very day. I don't even have to wait for the next day to come. So that is something that we all should keep in mind and plan our future and plan our, work very well.
Yes, Apoorva, I think everybody's really lit with the fire right now that you're sharing because I can feel it right across, in Bangalore from Bareilly. And thank you for being on today's episode. For all the listeners, please follow her page. Let's Be Eloquent. I love it. And I'm sure all of you will really benefit from this page. Thanks once again.
Thank you.
To you, our dearest listeners, you can find us on your favorite streaming services, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and of course on all other major streaming services. With loads of love, we are the Mohua Show, where we talk imandari se.